The Salem Witch Trials, the story of the supposed satanic rising in Massachusetts.
It all began in 1692 in Salem, Massachusetts, when two female preadolescents began showing signs of fits and hysterics. During the 17th and 18th century, most believed that Satan was an active presence on earth. Because of this mindset, the villagers instantly presumed this was a sign from the devil himself. The townspeople felt that these girls couldn't have casted spells on themselves, so it must have been someone who cursed them. And so the hunt for the so-called witches began.
The whole dilemma began in the home of the town's reverend, when his daughter Elizabeth and his niece Abigail began to bark like dogs, speak gibberish, and scream randomly. After much examination, local doctor William Griggs diagnosed the girls with the evil hand, also referred to as witchcraft. After interrogating the girls on who brought this illness upon them, the girls released three names of accused witches: Tituba, the reverend slave; Sarah Osborne, a member of the Puritan Society; and Sarah Good, a homeless woman. As the rumor of witches spread, more and more women were accused of being a witch. As the years passed, the delirium began to dial down. When the colony's governor's wife was accused, he put an end to the trials. However, before he could end it, 20 women out of the 220 who have been accused and 2 dogs were put to death. More often than not, the accused were burned at the stake, but on other occasions they were hung or stoned, which is being pelted to death with stones.
In order to determine if a woman was a witch or not, they had to undergo 5 trials. The first trial was simple enough. It was just to revitalize, or bring a new meaning to the Lord's Prayer. It was thought that people who were possessed by Satan could not recite these holy words. However, there were times when the accused would fall into fits similar to those that Abigail and Elizabeth had presented. Understandably, those that had fits did not pass the test. The second trial took physical evidence into consideration. Any birthmarks, moles, warts, or other unnatural blemishes were considered portals through which the devil could enter and possess the human's vessel. The third trial was simply to see if any of the village locals accused the woman of witchcraft, modernly referred to as a witness testimony. The fourth was spectral evidence, since they believed that Satan could only enter a vessel if the human was willing. So if anyone saw an evil spirit or a ghost in the accused, they were automatically made out to be a witch. The fifth and final trial was the confession, where the witch in question was to confess all of her sins to God. If the witch begged for mercy and to be forgiven for her sins, she was clearly not a witch. The confessors were rarely executed, but if the woman didn't confess, it was confirmed Satan was in her.
In Salem, no one really knows what happened to this day. Besides witchcraft, some of the events that happened around that time made Salem suffer immensely. For example, in the beginning of the decade, there was an outbreak of smallpox. There were also some of the coldest winters on record, and there were also some more Native American attacks. With the population starting to grow, keeping ownership of the land was getting difficult with the Native Americans on their heels. In the beginning of 1693, the talk of witchcraft died down.
Often speculated were conspiracies of what the fits that Elizabeth and Abigail had actually were. Some people thought that the girls had fallen into a state of epileptic seizures. Others claimed it was smallpox or salmonella. Some even thought that it was just a young girl starting to go through puberty. Some people even went as far as blaming the weather for these girls' random outbursts. Others, people who are more skeptical, thought that the girls were just desperate for attention.
Although centuries have passed, the memories of this horrible occurrence still linger. A monument was built to honor the lives lost during the Salem witch trials. Many have come forward and apologized for all that transpired, including the Salem witch jury. In the words of the jury, "And do hereby declare that we justly fear that we were sadly deluded and mistaken, for which we are much disquieted and distressed in our minds, and do therefore humbly beg forgiveness." The story has survived throughout the centuries because of one reason, so there may never be a situation similar to this one.